Aloha again, everybody. Mike Drutar, principal broker and owner of NextHome Paradise Realty, here with another property tour. We are on Oceanfront, Ali'i Drive. Check that out. You want an oceanfront property? You want ocean view? This is it. We're in a great spot here. We got 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, 2,018 square feet. Home built in 1966 on 7,500 square feet of land. There's a number of things about this house that we're going to talk about that are really unique, and we get to talk about a little bit the different options you have in Hawaii for what you do with a property that you own that you may want to do a vacation rental, but depending on how it was used in the past, you may or may not be able to. So we'll get into some of that. First of all, I got to give a special thanks to Lisa Howard of LUVA Real Estate for allowing us to look at this property. We looked at one of hers before, also Oceanfront Ali'i Drive. And that was the big one that used to be a former bed and breakfast. Boy, is it a beautiful day or what. So this lot is a little bit long and narrow. So what it gives you is a really wide run of shoreline frontage. I would say in our market, this is a pretty large frontage piece. Usually it's about half this size. So you have a lot of oceanfront. And you can see they've done a really nice job of taking advantage and putting their decking all the way out. We have, looks like an old seawall and another seawall on top. Now in the wintertime, when we have massive swells, the splashes will come up, and I wouldn't be surprised if they come all the way up here where the water lands with the wind blowing it and everything. We actually have a little bit of a bump in right now. Nothing major, but a couple of surfers out at a few of the spots. Real quick, Magic Sand Beach Park is, I think there's maybe 3 or 4 houses down, and then you have Pahoehoe Park, and then the condos right before Magic's. So a very popular beach. You're definitely within walking distance of that beach. So there are some things on the house you need to be aware of. It's going to need a little bit of updating. Living this close to the ocean, the seawater does do a bit of a number on it, so wood items do need to get replaced over time. You need to be really, really solid with your coatings on those woods to help them last longer. But they are going to deteriorate faster than you will see in a normal house. That's just part of living oceanfront. One thing I like that they did here is, and you don't see this a lot, but it's really smart actually, they went with siding on here. Now, I know for a lot of people, they'll think siding is cheap, but the thing that siding is in this sort of an environment, it's very durable. If you were going with typical board and batten, even stucco, it's a really, it just doesn't work. Wood deteriorates really quick, and stucco, the metal underneath the stucco, believe it or not, it is still porous, and you will still get spalling of rebar, of metal and everything. It basically will rust out from inside, cause delamination and flaking, and you have to redo that stuff, and that's a lot more expensive. So the main house has 3 bedrooms. We're going to take a look at that right now. And then there's a side bedroom, or kind of what we would call an ohana. It's not a legal ohana by Hawaii definition. It's basically a separate living area. But because of that, you have some really interesting options on how you can use this house. So this is a great beach cottage. Good amount of space. So let's check out first here. We got our dining area. Plenty of space in here with a powder room over in the corner. And then a good sized kitchen. A little bit older on the appliances and the cabinets. For me, I would probably redo this, but I like the configuration. I would probably just maybe consider opening that up a little bit more, lowering this down, putting a waterfall edge or something like that over there, going with quartz on top, and just redoing the cabinets. Believe it or not, doing the cabinets is pretty easy these days. Soft close, drawers and doors and all that stuff, you can buy those right off the floor at Home Depot and Lowe's, and bring them in and install them really quick. It's not that difficult. Plenty of room here in our living area. We got tile, looks like 6-inch tile. Down here on the floor, we got some old school bamboo rattan style furniture that they have in here. See this a lot on a lot of properties, pretty common in vacation rentals. Now this is not a vacation rental. This property does not have a non-conforming use certificate. It's in an area zoned residential. It is not in a resort node, and it was not a vacation rental before, meaning it could not get grandfathered in with the non-conforming use certificate. Perfect room for the kids. Look at that, bunk beds there. Because it does not have that non-conforming use certificate, it cannot be a pure vacation rental. So you can't just buy this, live on the mainland or anywhere, put it on a vacation rental, rent it out for a day, 5 days, 7 days. You can't do that. There are two different things that you can do. Number one, you can rent it out for 31 days or more. If you rent it out for 31 days or more in your contract, you'll find that you are in compliance with the law and all is good. Now some people will say, hey Mike, what if I rent it out for 14 days and then just leave it vacant for 17 days? That's my 31 days. Wrong answer. What the contract says is what matters. So like if you negotiate a rate of 14 days, your contract says 31 days, they can just stay for 31 days. There's really nothing you can do about it. That's what the contract says, and they got a great deal. The other way that this is allowed as a short-term vacation rental, well, as a rental of less than 31 days, because by definition, a short-term vacation rental is one where you don't live here. Well, if you do live on property, it's what's called a hosted rental. And hosted rentals are allowed to rent for shorter than 31 days. So if you live on site, you can rent for less than 31 days, you can rent for 5 days, 7 days, all that good stuff. So now you're thinking, well, Mike, that's all great. Well, what am I supposed to do? Just live over here in this bedroom and rent out the other two? That doesn't seem like it makes sense. I mean, we're all running into each other, shared bathrooms, shared living areas, shared cooking areas. That doesn't make much sense. And you're right. There's one more thing about this property that makes this make sense. Now, you can be a hosted rental. It doesn't say exactly where that hosting has to be. So, you can live in the main house there, what we just looked at, or you can live in this little attached studio. So live here in this studio and rent out the other one. Now you're saying, Mike, I didn't come to Hawaii to buy a property listed at $2.2 million to live in this little studio. And I get it. You can also rent this out, and this person can be your designated contact on-site manager under the Hawaii County Code. And now you can rent out the other side, whatever term you want, because it's a hosted rental again. So as a hosted rental, it doesn't have to be the biggest house or the biggest part of the house that you're in for the hosted, and it doesn't even have to be you. It just has to be someone on site permanently. So give someone a real sweetheart deal here. Say, hey, got a studio for you, $800 a month. You have to be the on-site contact person if there's any trouble. If someone, neighbor calls because there's a big party, and you're set. You're a hosted rental. And now you're in compliance with the law, and you can put the other side up on Airbnb, VRBO, get $500 a night. Who knows, maybe more. Put you in contact with a vacation rental manager to find out exactly what you can get, and you're set. And now you're renting this thing out, using the main house when you want to use it, getting a little bit of income. And as we know, and you'll see in some of my videos, having income from a property, especially during inflation, is a great hedge. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks again to Lisa. I'm sure you guys are loving this view. I am. If you like this property or our property tours, let me know. Hit the like button, leave me a comment, and most of all, really appreciate if you guys subscribe. And I hope you're having an aloha day like I am.